buenos días. Antes de ahorita tutun, lagu tu be finalmente be expressamos puro na agradecimento da apreciação para a Academia Municipal de Luta, a fermentar ni sede komite ni sede ni bata conductas ni na junta. Lagu tu kini be vai ser namzu com respeito com sinha pegue de miso seu phone ni silent mode ni no, I would like to go ahead and call this Senate Special Committee hearing to order. Today is July 21st, 2021, here in the Rota Mayor's Office Conference Room. And with us today in the Special Committee, to my immediate right is Senate Floor Leader Denise Blanc. To my immediate left is Senator Victor B. Hoco, and to his left is Senator Francisco Q. Cruz. Before I recognize the Honorable Mayor, I also would like to recognize the support staff from the Legislative Bureau. Also Joe Bermudez, Legislative Assistants, Jolene Taguero and Tiara Blanco. And assisting the committee as well is David Imopon, the Fiscal Analyst for the Senate. And I also want to just recognize the presence of our esteemed Senator from Tina, Senator Carl King Neighbors, who's here with us today. Thank you, Talo, Mayor Antali, John Santos, Sergeant at Arms, for providing the film work. Just a brief history of how we came about to having this platform of meetings with several agencies over the course of at least the last 2 months. We started off on meeting with the Office of Grants Management, State Clearinghouse, for reasons that there are some concerns being raised by several agencies and our municipalities with regards to some of the standard operating procedure as indicated in the public law that created that office. So we've met with several agencies. We've met with the State Clearinghouse themselves, and also we were supposed to have our meeting here, Mr. Mayor, but on 22nd of June, but with your concurrence, we rescheduled it, and we appreciate that. So that brings us to today, and the purpose of this meeting is to just to hear from your office and from your respective line agencies that it's under your watch, to share with the special committee any information with regards to the working relationship with the Office of Grants Management. And then after that, the presiding officer will recognize any of the members if they have any questions. So with that, I turn the mic to you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, President and distinguished members. Welcome to Rota. Mr. President, I can tell you this, that the Office of Grant Management really helped Rota. I say that is because whenever we applied, sure there are delays, that I understand, but the bottom line is that they deliver. And the ongoing projects or grants that we have right now, I believe I provided you a copy of that back in sometime in May. And in that, the current projects that are going on right now, I can enumerate them down. The Rota Emergency Responders Radio Repeater System project. This project at this point is ongoing. We are working to develop the communication systems here in the island of Rota to the emergency responders. The second one is the coconut renaissance beetle detection, eradication, and prevention measures. That's ongoing. And that project, like I said, it's ongoing, and we will continue to apply grant based on what's going on the ground, such as as you probably know, that we have found Renaissance beetle at the eastern side of the island. So again, we applied for that and we were granted. The third one is the acquisition of the mobile rock crusher that has been approved, and we have bid it out, and company won it, so it's ongoing right now. The Rota Historical Sites Management Project, this is the historical sites that we want to have like a signage that explains what are we looking at. For example, the Taga Stone Quarry, I wanted to have a history about it placed on it so that our tourists can understand what the history of the event or the sites that they're looking at. Also, the Rota Defense Skeeter Trout Project. This equipment is, it goes into farm areas and sprays a fire should there be a fire. The other one is the installation of standalone solar photovoltaic lamp post units. This is a lamp that at night we have to light it up that attracts the beetles, the rhino beetles, so that we can have data as to whether they're female, male, or how many of them. The other one is a 2 megawatt utility scale grid connecting energy storage system. This particular project here is, I'm not too into it because this is a CUC grant. So unfortunately, a CUC representative is not here to explain about that. So the other one is the aquaponic power generation enhancement project. This project is to ensure that we have power 24/7. And the other one is as I said, this the Renaissance, the rhino beetle is a really ongoing project that we have to apply based on what's going on the ground. So it's a 2-year project. So we continue to apply for the rhino issues here on the island. So that's what we basically have, Mr. President, Chairman. I'll try my best to answer any questions that you post on me. And of course, I have some of the directors here that can answer questions relative to their department application with the grants.
Thank you, Mayor. I think, do you wish to invite any of your parties to state some testimony on any of these specific projects, or before I entertain before I entertain questions from them?
Good morning, Senate President.
Morning, sir.
And senators, again, welcome home to a beautiful island of Aurora. My name is Barry Tovis. I'm the acting resident department head for DLNR. I understand that this is an oversight hearing for the grants office. I would like to apologize that I do not have a list of the projects that are currently being undergoing with the department, but one in particular that the mayor has mentioned since 2017 when the rhinoceros beetle was discovered. The grants office has been working 100% with the department and the municipality in addressing this issue. The rhinoceros beetle has spread to the west side of the island. From the west side to the east, it's already reaching up to the Gavani area. And because of that, we addressed that issue to the grants office to extend and requested additional funding. As far as the number in funding is concerned, I don't have that figure today, but we increased the number of FTEs, personnel, and lately the grants office secured funding also for an additional transportation vehicle, and we split the team in two. We have now the capacity to continue aggressively addressing the eradication effort that is ongoing. We submitted a request for tractor equipment under the, I believe if it's not the NACT or the TRAP program, but however, because of the insufficient documentation, we did not receive that award. We're going to try again, one more time. The grants office has been very cooperative with the department, and I'm proud to say that out of all the departments in Lora, I believe that the DLNR has received a tremendous amount of support. Sometimes we requested for various resources that are not available, but we continue to push the grants office to look and search those kinds of resources out there. The only thing that we're concerned about is we were expecting that this office that was created is going to have a training opportunity for potential individuals within the departments to be able to write program plans on projects. And I was under the impression that when that is done, the grants office will go out and search for available grants based on the needs and based on the scopes of the program plan. I just wanted to share that because I believe that the grants office should also extend that opportunity down to Garden of Lora. I do have awareness that they did that in the past. Unfortunately, the DLNR was not in that position to send any candidate to attend those trainings. I'm pretty interested to see that this continues, at least on a regular basis, because times have changes, administrations changes. Every 2 years we have political atmosphere that changes. It's the same as the weather, and the department should sustain the necessary knowledge and skills so that they can continue to avail of these programs. I know that watching the previous hearings that Mr. Epe Cabrera explained to the committee that they have done that and they continue to plan to do that. I just wanted to make sure that it's an opportunity that's going to perpetuate over the years and every year to continue to provide those training opportunities for the departments.
Thank you. I think Dr. Tovis, very good piece of information, and the committee certainly appreciates the information. No? Joygi, if I sit on Mayor Ozzy, do you guys have any point of? Do you guys have any grant POC that deals directly with the state clearinghouse under your office, or grant writer per se?
No, Mr. President. We do have a point of contact person. Her name is Dana Calvo. But right now she's in Saipan helping for the renters assistance program. But yes, we do, but the grant space, her
That's good.
for that, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's true, we had actually some call during one of the meetings. So, but I have one more question with Mr. Topis's comment earlier. STCH, CRB, everything encompasses, including FT, procurement of equipment and operation costs.
That is correct.
So there's as what was mentioned earlier by Mayor Anthony, that there is a resumption of grants because of the revelation of it spreading from
Yes,
east to west.
yes, that is correct. And every month, Senator, the team submits to the department their monthly report, and we see a trend of new discoveries. And from there, we submitted our request for an additional number of FTEs to address that. And at the same time, we did submit for additional equipment and transportation, and those have already been procured and available to us.
Thank you. Oh, you two, the members, can anybody? Check two. Thank you. May I recognize Chairman Hall?
Well, in the interest of the mayor that has got the appointment, maybe I'll just focus on what the municipality provided the committee with list of grants, whether it's ongoing or already have been consummated. So the rota responder and repeater system, Mr. Mayor, is this already being funded by grant office to continue for the operation?
Yes, and we're working on it as we speak.
Does this project would not compete, or it was just directed to the first installer of this emergency responder?
We hired the local company to work on that project.
The rock crosser, no? Where you mentioned that it's already up
Yes.
and a meter has been selected already. And does the grant management make you aware as to the ETA of that rock crosser?
No, sir. They have not yet.
Let me just focus on now here to, I have no more question for you, as you indicated here that the first 5 is perhaps is already on movement for,
That's
for the project. No? So for the acting director, how are we with the Rhino Bido as it relates to support from the grant office to provide the DNR with an additional manpower to suppress the spread of all this program?
Thank you for that question, Senator. Now we are able to split into 2 groups, and daily they have a routine schedule. They are continuously and consistently been placing traps, and we are coming towards the end of the fiscal year, and we're using now the balance of the funding resources that we have in anticipation of the end of the fiscal calendar year. We have been ordering additional resources such as the nettings, the chemicals that is needed for the equipment to work. Because we have now the ability to split the teams into two, we are more aggressively collecting data. We dispatch our teams to all locations of the island to continue to monitor and see the changes of coconut trees. Through the grants office also, we procured a drone equipment that is able to hover at a certain level, limited to the FAA's authorization and regulation. There's a couple of times when the guys kind of get too excited and went overboard, and there is a warning on the system that comes up from FAA and it blacks out the data. So those are the experiences that we've been experiencing throughout the operation. But I'm glad to announce to the committee that because of these additional resources and additional manpower, we are aggressively continuing our diligent effort, and it shows that there is new discoveries in certain locations that they are reporting. On a daily basis, they continue to check the traps and they continue to count the CRB in various stages, from pupae all the way to adulthood, from live to dead number of bodies that were captured in the trap. I believe the department head is now working with the grants office to find sources for us to procure additional advanced technology. We have the Tewksbury Beach area where they're going to look into a solar panel backup generator of some sort to attract the adult species in that stage of what do you call this breeding stage. But manually, our manpower is adequate to continue the operation. If we see that there is an increase in coverage and discovery, then of course we're going to come back to the grants office again to request for additional more resources. We're not at the point at this time yet.
Okay, so Mr. Acting Director, how many FTE that is being funded directly from OCN at this time?
I don't have that exact number, Senator, but just by the names that I'm looking at the faces today, I believe there's six employees, and we have one eradication team coordinator. We started out with only one FTE, and we have increased up to, I believe, 6, if I'm not mistaken.
So that's directly being paid out of the grant.
That is correct.
Okay, so the vehicle, how many vehicles does grant office provide in this project?
We have two 4x4 vehicles now.
And my last concern for the project, Mr. Acting Director, since you most probably exhausted the balance of this grant for this fiscal year, is there any continuity or request to continue funding with the present FTE being paid by grant, and any anticipated request for more additional on FTE in the event that the Rhino Bureau continue to spread out from the island?
That will be dependent and subject to the trend of the reports that are coming in. If we see that there's an increase or an expansion or an extension of coverage, then we have that backup plan in place that we're going to be able to submit again for additional FTEs. As far as the funding is concerned, we are anticipating that it's going to continue. Every time it expires, we're going to resubmit again, as long as that we continue to show that there is data, that the CRB still exists.
So let me ask this, if it's continuing funding, then we just have to continue also to provide a write-up for that request, right?
That is correct.
Okay. Okay, are you?
Thank you, Chairman. Nice. Floor Leader Sablan.
Thank you, Press, and good morning, Mayor, and to all the parties that are with us today. As mentioned this morning by the Chairman or Senate President for this special committee, it's to actually measure the performance of the Office of Grants Management under Public Law 19-49 and how it's structured, and what the committee's task was to look and see if all these subsections within Public Law 19-49 were being performed and abided by. Mr. Toves mentioned about training, and in Public Law 19-49, subsection 2892, there's some duties and responsibilities of the Office of Grants Management, and one of them is to provide training, and this is language in the law, is to provide training to government agency staff in grant writing and grant management and administration, and other technical assistance to agency staff and other interested organizations. So this is this section in the subsection is actually a mandate of the Office of Grants Management. So I wanted to ask, have they extended their service in compliance with this section of Public Law 19-49 in providing training for all your resident directors or those individuals and staff that are tasked to handle the grants for the municipality of Florida?
Senator, we have discussed that, and we plan to execute that plan of training sometime next month.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to kind of inform the parties on that so that they can reach out to the grants management and ask them, ask them that, or tell them that we need the training because it's mandated by law for them to provide that training to you. Another mandate and responsibility of the office is to identify all grants that the CNMI is eligible to receive but has not applied for, and to determine whether the CNMI should submit a future application. I wanted to ask about the structure of your grants. Is who initiates it? Is it initiated by the respective office? Does the Office of Grants Management communicate with the your line agencies in informing them that there are grants for these specific programs like the DLNR or Commerce or whatever?
Yeah, we have not received any anything like that. The department makes the request, but OGM have not told us what is available to apply for. And that's a good idea. That's something that I will bring it up to them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, that's another mandate, so it'll be good to kind of keep in communication with them so that you're sure that they're providing that service to your RDs and your line agencies. The last one is in the law also under the operating budget and scope of operations under subsection 2893. The grants office, their operations are funded by the indirect costs of all the grants that are availed by in the CNMI. And in that indirect costs, it's mandated for them to provide 20% of that budget to be deposited into special accounts for sub-grants. And these sub-grants are available for any of the agencies or the municipalities. Has the Office of Grants Management informed or shared that there are these sub-grants available for your line agencies?
No, they have not informed me. I'm not aware about that, but thank you for that, and I'll certainly bring that up immediately to them.
Yes, I just wanted to kind of bring that to light so that the RDs and all the departments know that there are these sub-grants that are collected by a percentage of the indirect costs of all the grants received. And if you really think about it, you know, it's millions of dollars that is received in sub-grant, in grants, and the indirect cost that is availed by these millions of dollars comes to a significant amount. And that's why it's a mandate of Public Law 19-49 that a percentage of that goes to accounts to provide for sub-grants for just different projects of any of the agencies that are under your responsibility. So I wanted to point that out. And these are just some of the things that the committee and the president has asked us to really measure what type of performance the law is and assistance is putting out. So we have some work ahead of us, but I wanted to inform you, Mayor, and the RDs that these are mandates by Public Law 19-49. So it's for your agencies and your RDs to really avail of these services, and especially the sub-grants that are available to the municipality. Thank you. I yield, Mr. President.
Thank you, Floor Leader Sablan. Would you like to respond?
Yeah,
Mr. Torres?
I just wanted to thank Senator Benicio for pointing that out. And yes, we are aware about that sub-grant from the 20% administrative cost. And in fact, just 2 weeks ago, we drafted a letter requesting for assistance to procure a zero-turn mower specifically for the aquaponics learning center. And I believe that in talking to Epi, I think that's the source of funding we're going to be tapping. Hopefully, if it's still available.
Outstanding. Thank you, Mr. Torres. Mr. Mayor?
Well, just to the acting director here, thank you about that. I'm not aware about that, and I believe that any letter goes out should go through me. For me to be aware.
Very, very good point, Mr. Mayor. Very good point. We recognize Senator Cruz if you want to pose your question, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning, Mayor and Acting Director and Office. Thank you for allowing us to, hear from you in regards to the OGM clearing house. When you write grant for the municipality, do you directly communicate with the grantor, or do you go through the Office of the Grant Management for approval? How do you proceed with applying for whatever grant is allowed for your agency to seek federal assistance? Do your grant writer communicate directly to the grantor, or do you go through the administrator, the OGM, for before even going to the grantor? How do you communicate with the Office of the Grant Management?
If I may, Senator, that's a very good question, because I was under the impression that when they created this grant office, that they're going to be working together in training grant writers for every department. That's not what we're looking at. Basically, from the beginning, when this office was created, what we do is we develop a program plan or project proposal, and then we submit a cover letter to the grant office requesting them to research and find us grant sources for this particular program plan. And in the program plan, we write out the scope and the objective, what we want to accomplish. And then it's up to them to go online and search the federal grants website. And from there, they will determine if we are eligible or not to apply for those grants. But we don't write the grant. The office of the grants office writes the grant. We just draft the program plan and the scope of work that we want to execute, and they're the ones who go out and match the grant.
Thank you for that, because according to the law that was passed in 2016, amending that law, and I think we found public law 19-49, that the OGM should, like what the lawyer mentioned earlier, should conduct a training for the agency to be able, to become a grant writer, and so to be able to be, to write grant, and not only just by OGM. And that's what OGM was saying, that understand, and I think it will be better if they follow that law and train the agency or even the senator district, for that matter, to be able to acknowledge how to write grants, so it will be a lot faster and easier. And the reason why I mentioned whether it goes to you guys before even going to the grant, and thank you for letting us know that it goes to them. But I think it is important that the administrator should continue to do training for agencies to be able to write grant. And do you have any access through what is available grant that the municipality is able to apply for? Do you have any access, or do you go again through the grant management? And because you want to find out, because back in Saipan we continue to discuss with the administrator that because there's complaints that he's the only one that have access to what is available that the cinema is eligible to apply for. So I think it is fair that the municipality should, or the grant writer of each municipality should understand or know what is available so that we can write grant for that, if we're eligible for that grant, rather than submitting and they'll be the one to plug in what is eligible for us, rather than us knowing what we need and eligible for our senatorial or their senatorial district. So I think you should, reach out and discuss with the administrator to be able to have an access to see what is eligible, what is eligible for the agency. And do you have any cases that you apply for such grant and you are being denied? And if that denial, or do they come back to you and advise you that your application is been denied or disapproved? And what is the reason that denial? Do you have any cases, something like that?
If I may answer that, there's one incident, Senator, but this is not Delaware. When the availability of funding was announced through the OIA, I believe, that's for the MAP and TAP program. I went online and I researched that, and I found out that the airports can also avail those grant sources. So I encouraged the program, the ports manager for Tinian and Rhoda at the time, because they have similar requests to the board for procurement of equipment. And Rhoda's submission was not necessarily denied per se by the grantor, but it's because there was lacking in certain requirement. However, Tinian's request went through because it had the complete set of requirements. One of the requirements I was kind of stunned about it is because there needed to be some letter of support coming from the community. And it's the ball is on the court of management for failing to secure that. But we are going to go ahead and resubmit again, but not a letter of denial. I was notified through email.
Okay, thank you, Acting Director. I think, thank you for that information, but I think CPA is excluded through this law, that you have to go through the administrator for approval. I think CPA can directly communicate or write grant to the bank. But with the different agency, there's some, like here says, CPA and other agency are not included in the law that have to go to the clearinghouse for approval. So good that they are communicating directly, CPA directly to the bank, but what in regards to other agencies that are within the law, the 1949, just want to clarify whether you guys, the agency are informed of what is the status of the application. Whether I use the denial because OGM continues to say approve and not approve, or either still waiting, and we want to know what is the problem behind that. If we, like I mentioned earlier, that there's some that is lacking, information that is lacking, so the agency can be able to understand what is the lacking information or whatever, so that they can, maybe the next time that there is a meeting will be that information will be corrected, rather than continue to do the same thing and continue not to be approved with the application that there's a meeting. So we're trying to correct what is the deficiency on that application. So rather than continue to submit the same thing, and it's going to come out the same thing, not being approved because of that matter. So we're just trying to see what OGM can do to assist the agency in order to adhere to that grant. So and again, the OGM's responsibility is to train grant writers. If they're not fully aware of how to write grant, that is the responsibility to train that individual to be able, to understand how to submit an application, so that we can take advantage of what is available and eligible for the cinema, especially for the senatorial district. So again, as much as possible, we would like the agency to have a good working relationship with the administrator, and the administrator to share, with the access on what is available, rather than them telling you guys what is available. For the agency and municipality to be able to see what's up there on the board, that is available for the agency to apply. So I think that's fair. So for everyone to understand what is available, that can be given to the agency or the municipality. So again, Mr. President, I yield for now, and I give the honorable the opportunity to raise the concern. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Chairman Cruz. Mr. Mayor, would you like to respond?
I just want to tell the committee, coincidentally, we're supposed to meet EPI today, this afternoon. So definitely going to bring up all this that you're educating us today.
This is responsibility, Mr. Mayor. And just not to belabor this topic with respect to that particular provision, just for everyone's information, Public Law 1949, which one of the provisions says that no application for any federal aid programs, grants, loans, contracts, contributions, advances, direct federal development, or other federal funding shall be submitted or deemed approved on behalf of the government of the CNMI or any agency division, office, department, or instrumentality thereof, or any public operation without the final approval of the administrator of the CNMI Office of Grants Management and State Clearinghouse. So the grants administrator is very, in the lack of a better, is very powerful in terms of the enabling statute. So nothing underneath this law, the legislature fully adopted back in the 19th legislature that we did not know question. So therefore, 5 years to the date, which is 5 years since 2016, the special committee would like to see where we're at as far as all the elements of the authority that was vested on him. And I appreciate the members articulating a little bit more on the provisions of the law today, and I wanted to ask this, so the chair wanted to ask this. Mr. Mayor, in no particular order, yung na active na request ni yung mention na yung opening statement, is this driven by the desire of your office and the community needs, or it was transposed down from them to say maybe you should do this? Just out of curiosity.
Yes, sir. Yes, for the most part, it's initiated from our departments.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's good because it's distinction, no? Kada senatorial district has their distinct needs, no?
Yes, yes, yeah. Thank you, President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Any other member would like to post, Senator?
Yeah, just to clarify why, Mr. Mayor, and department heads that were here to continue this hearing with the grant management is to really understand whether the grant management are receptive in trying to assist the municipality based on their needs. There is in the law that the OGM have failed to do, that in the law directs them to promulgate rules and regulations as to how this grant can be obtained, most particularly sub-grant. Senator Vini mentioned about the office sub-grants, but what we lack to understand from grant office is whether his office provided a contact individual directly working under the grant to work with the department for their sub-grant request. When OGM collected the fees of the grant that they closed, they will hold 40% of that. 20% they use for the operation. The 20% will be put aside for what they call sub-grant from the department that needed assistance. So in the absence of anyone being hired directly for road maintenance, then the department lacks the ability or the gateway to really go forward with what the department needs. And the President mentioned that the management of this office is very powerful. I can offer you, I'm going to give you this. You don't have to do anything. Right? He called a shot. But that shot that he called, like, where is it going to happen? Because there is no request from this particular office or no follow-up as to the status of what he will do. So the reason why I'm asking those questions earlier is to measure the ability of grant support to the municipality, like the President mentioned, that each municipality have different needs. But even if we do that, if there's no follow-up, Senator Cruz mentioned whether the grant come back and inform you whether your concern is being rejected or approved. Sometimes, you know, you propose a project, overview, give them to write a grant, but you never know whether, what's the condition or the situation of this grant. But if we have a contact individual paid by the grant office to really work with the senatorial and the department, then there is more transparency in communicating the needs to avail for the sub-grant. So the sub-grant you have also to write, if you're requesting for sub-grant, you need to write sub-grant to his office, which is that sub-grant will be based on the local collection of this particular 20% that's going to be set aside for the department. And I don't think that has been explained to you when grant management or office comes to meet with you, other than I will provide you this, I will provide you that.
That's right, that's right.
Right?
Right.
So we want this office to be more transparent and follow the rule of law. And I asked this question to Mr. Cabrera, and I did pose this question: in the future, are you planning to provide Tinian and Rota? You make mention that Rota have already contact point. Yeah, Rota have a contact point, but you brought this individual to Saipan and you work with her, and where's Rota? So it doesn't serve the purpose of having a contact person in Rota, and then you brought this individual to Saipan. So where's Rota or Tiniana? So Mayor, the grant management manager, Mr. Cabrera, acknowledge this, and when you meet with him, I want you to ask him,
Yes,
when can Rhoda have personnel to work, whether in your office, to outreach the other department for any sub-grant request? Because I want the manager, and I ask him, I want you to concentrate on the competitive grant outside. And I want also your staff to work on the sub-grant for the department that's needing assistance. You know, if you can avail to give sub-grant for personnel on some other area in Saipan, did Rhoda understand, or Tinian knew that you can provide that personnel cost also from that sub-grant? I bet you that you guys don't know that. So I think maybe you should ask him when you meet with him that we hear this. And I think Mr. Cabrera acknowledged the need of this oversight hearing, so that, you know, he can be put also on line with his authority, and not to be a self individual that only him can commit, you know, and not to follow up. So,
yes, I will, sir.
and that's why I asked this question, the list of a project that you're requesting from grant, is it really going forward, or is just an offer that stands still? And like the PNR, we want to find out whether AP is on top with this Rano Video grant perpetual, or you need to, PNR need to again inform them for a additional grant. So I understand that maybe Rota is getting much support from the grant management and not Tinian. So why the collapse of responsibility on the other senatorial? So what we're trying to do is to bring this together so the grant management can address fairly and provide the necessary service evenly. And I guess they acknowledge that failure of their side, and they are working now to straighten up the concern of the leadership from all the editorial.
Senator, I will surely bring these up to him, and I hope that we can, or he can straighten out all these requests.
And most mayor, we, like Senator Cruz mentioned, we did also ask him during the hearing about how often can grant management provide in-service training in grant writing for the department. So I think he has noted that down and he will be implementing that as soon as practical after all is said and done. I yield back to you, Mr. President.
As is Masi, Chairman Victor Ho. Any other member? Thank you. Vamos no malago Mayor particularly. Any other members from your respective?
Yeah, Mr. President, as I said earlier, excuse me, I have 11 o'clock medical checkup. And to the directors that are here, please make yourself available should you have any issues concerning the grants office. Please step up. Thank you.
As is Masi, Mr. Mayor, the chair would like to go for a short recess. No? Thank you. To our special committee meeting, and before we took a break earlier, there was some testimony provided by some agencies and the mayor. And again, I would invite any agency that would like to discuss items before the special committee today in discussion, Office of Grants Management service relationship with the entities here in Municipality of Bacolod. So the chair would like to open it. If not, then we're ready to push ahead with the next item on the agenda. Please just state your name for the record.
Good morning, senators and all present this morning. My name is Dwayne Izama Martita. I am the resident department head for the Department of Community and Cultural Affairs. So I'm here maybe just to share a little bit about the grant opportunity that we were awarded for the HPO. And of course, we transmitted the proposal up to OGM. This was back in 2019. I believe because of the pandemic that back in last year delayed the process, which we understand. We did receive a notice directly from OGM that we were awarded for the historical site maintenance and improvement project. I believe that was roughly about $101,000. And those is specifically, as it states in the proposal, to provide maintenance equipment and of course enhance the sites. The only, I believe maybe I should share with the committee, the only issue rather that were concerns were the delay of the processing of PRs as requested. So those are just the things that maybe perhaps we can maybe bring it to the attention of the OGM. It was very not clear to the department, rather the division, as to why was it placed on hold or those and other matters that is actually and still is being delayed. So. However, about a couple of weeks back, we already knew Mr. Frankie Angel, and various helpful in getting us to the requests that we submitted. So we could have been done maybe earlier, as is requested about 3 months ago, with no PRs to get some of the equipments also and some open accounts so that we can be able to move forward with the projects. And the other thing is that I thank you, Senator Vinny, for electing us about the public law. And now that it's clear to us. And the other concern, maybe, or not really a concern, but maybe perhaps a suggestion, especially with the sub-grants, that in any case, if we submit a grant in the future, And if we didn't get approved or did not get approved, would there be a way to perhaps maybe look into the sub-grants and go from there? So let's say we submit it to agencies and we get denied, and then perhaps maybe OGM can either we can resubmit or, you know, consideration for the sub-grants. So I believe maybe that should assess the agencies, rather all the departments with the projects, upcoming projects.
Thank you, Director Maritita. Those are a very good piece of information, and a lot of it we found through the series of hearings, the meetings with OGM, is the methodology of the way they communicate, or lack thereof. So I think it's no different to what you just mentioned earlier. So those are the things that compels the entity to figure out a way to make it seamless so that frustration don't go to a level where it's not necessary. All it is just a proper communication. So that's why we're here to hear testimonies, good or bad, recommendations, and that will give us ideas as to how to work through with the way the lay of the law is right now. So I want to thank you for this revelation. Any questions from the members? John Rickens.
Again, Director, the committee is here actually to ascertain whether the OGM office is responsive to any request for whether sub-grant, competitive grant that your office avail to. Are you getting the necessary assistance from the grant office? Now, you have mentioned on the sub-grant, you can directly provide that scope of work to justify the sub-grant, local sub-grant, and not the other form of grant. But if you have any bigger aspect of grant needs, like if you think that there's a bigger project that require a competitive grant, then I think you should directly communicate that with the manager.
Yes, of course.
And any regular grant that you provide the scope of a particular project, that one the present way of doing it now is you just provide that and get into the OGM office for them to process the grant requirements, documentation. But on the sub-grant, that's totally different from these other two grants. So like if you need anything that the sub-grant can avail to assist your office, then you can directly provide that to the office of OGM.
So maybe we could, if I may know, Senator, let's say we needed more funds. I mean, the award is not enough to actually cover the entire scope of work. So would the sub-grant be a way or an avenue that we can submit for the
The sub-grant is also dependent on how much availability in the company. Okay. You might not be instead of denial, but maybe they do not have the ability. So you can follow that up for reconsideration in the future.
Would that be something, Senators, that we can maybe perhaps bring up to OGM in terms of, if we're privy for those information as to how much is in the coffer, or
I believe the OGM representative will be here, so if you have time,
okay, of
you
course,
go with him. But for now, we're interested whether the office is responsive, with your request.
They are, sir. And of course, it's just a matter, like I said, or delay. So those are just the hiccups along the way with the projects, pending projects, and of course, submission for PRs. And that's something that I can bring up to the team. And of course, with the PR processing, I have requested, or rather maybe give them a recommendation as to maybe perhaps have one of us who, especially the individual that's handling the project, to be able to do processing of PRs. And that way, I believe that it should maybe streamline the delay. So that's something that I can bring up. As far as the assistance is concerned, yes, OJM been helping us. It's just a matter of some delays along the way.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Recognize the meeting.
Thank you, President. Artie, just for clarification on the sub-grants, the public law does require that the Office of Grants Management promulgate rules and regulations for awarding the sub-grants. And the expenditure authority, of course, will be the special assistant to that office, or the administrator for that office. So if you do meet with the administrator, it'll be a good question to ask if there are any regulations promulgated to direct the utilization of these sub-grants and how they can be used and how can the department avail of these grants. So the regulations will spell out what you can use it for, or any amount, what amount can you apply for. It'll be a good question to ask if you meet him.
Duly noted, yes, Senator. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Press.
Thank you, Floor Leader Sablan. Recognize Senator Cruz.
Mr. President, Director, I don't know if you have any knowledge in regards to the FY 2020 Technical Assistance Program, which your department is funded under historical site maintenance project. One young knowledge. Or you knowledge now that you have
Yes.
funded on one?
Yes, yes, sir.
So, you don't have any problem with OGF? This is under, I believe, this is under sub-grant, if I'm not mistaken.
I did receive the award letter, no, Senator, but I didn't state anything, where's the funding coming from? Was this an official letter from the Office of Consular Affairs?
Yeah, I just want you to be aware that you have under one historical. And, Mr. President, I'm sorry, I leave for now.
Thank you, Senator Cruz. Any further question for Mr. RDH Martita? Ready? Thank you, Director. And with that, there's being no further discussion under item 6 or 7. Senator Cruz?
Yes, Mr. President, I'm sorry. I thought, for defense, I just want to make defense also aware that
Defense, can you? Chairman, can you?
whether or not you acknowledge under the same technical assistance program, similar to the CCA that you have for under defense order, with the communication of it, you acknowledge that you have 144?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. No further question, Mr. President. Thank you. And before you close, Mr. President, I just want to make the municipality aware that back in Saipan I mentioned about the proposed, I think according to the OG administrator, that in regards to the for under Saipan for road and Tinian, it was indicated at 22,600 for vehicle, and I asked that question whether, because it was Tinian's last road, whether 22,600 for each, but according to an administrator, it was one either for Tinian or Road, so I just want to make sure that the municipality are aware of that and can be, perhaps we can reach out to the OGM and see that the municipality will receive rather than whoever gets that car gets lucky first. So, because I don't see any car, brand new car, divided by 22,600 for two car. I think that's only the most cheapest brand new car is 22,600. So I'm looking at maybe, for me it's not, I think should be, given more than that, maybe times two of that 22,600 to be fair. Not whoever gets lucky will get that car first. I just wanted to make the municipality aware of that, and maybe we can reach out to OGMC, how can they, get that vehicle available for the municipality. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Cruz. And no further discussion from the Ready? Thank you. Of course, the mayor's left earlier, but I want to thank the rest of the RDH and agencies that participated in this meeting this morning. This will conclude our set of meetings. Sarge? Okay, well, just to be consistent, to state your name for the record.
My name is Ronnie Chu from Defense, acting Deputy Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Wu.
Mr. President, are you entertaining the
Well,
I just would like to, I think since the PW and Leonor. Leonor's involved, that's Barry, right? Because I mentioned yes. Sorry, Mr. President,
Go ahead, Chairman.
I mentioned yesterday in regards to the propagation of native trees, and I see that it's and even for the coordinator or for Leonor, it was stated here under the technical assistance program that DNR should receive the 96,000 for invasive species coordinator. So I think the acting was not aware of that, but it's stated here that it's for road invasive species coordinator at 96,000. I just wanted the DNR to acknowledge that, because I believe yesterday the acting was not fully aware of that 96,000 for coordinator for the island road and for DPW under advanced technology support. For any, you have 79. I don't know if you're aware of that. I think you should check on OGM in regards to that, because he was awarded for a technical assistance program at 4 million, and for road under that, for DPW advanced knowledge support for A&E, you have 79. So I just want you to be aware of that and reach out to OGM find out whether what's the status of that. And that'll be all, Mr. President. Thank you.
Please proceed to the days, Director DPW, and before you speak to the mic, please identify yourself for the record, if you wish to testify. Director Manuel, stop
name is Darren Mendola, President Department Head for DPW.
Would you like to share?
Yeah, I
any-
mean, I have, on aware with that 79,000 that you're saying for AD position through OG.
It's according to the FY 2020 techno assistance program. They've been awarded $4 million plus, and under that, assistance for road and for DPW, we have advanced technology support for A&E, 79,000.
Oh,
So,
definitely.
you will work that, no?
Sorry,
If not, then, perhaps maybe we can talk to Jim and inquire as to what is the funding status of that.
Yeah, most definitely I will. Thank you for
Yes.
that information.
Just the same thing as I mentioned for defense and DCCL. It's under the same grant. It's awarded and funded to the activities of the agency that I just mentioned.
Thank you, Senator, for that information.
Chairman Cruz, can I, Julie? Can you access the website for, what's the link for OGM? So that we can share to the respective agency heads? I believe that those information can be accessed through that. We'll share the link once available, but we do encourage you to please, before you make any direct communication, make sure that you clear with the Honorable Mayor. Go through Honorable Mayor, if every Mantalik's clearance, then you reach out to OGMSC. Those information are public records, they will be shared. So as soon as we access the correct website, we'll provide the Office of the Mayor as well as for your use. But the reason why it's they're in existence for the very reason that you be accessing those kind of information as indicated earlier by Chairman Cruz. So, Chairman Melodea, would you like to please state your name for the record, just for consistency?
Thank you, Chairman House, and to the members of this committee. For the record, my name is Dean Reynold Athletic Magnolia, and I'm the resident department head for the Department of Commerce. And in relation to the purpose of this hearing and our communication with the Office of Grants Management. So if you recall back to yesterday's public hearing in regards to the computer equipment, I did make a request with the Office of Grants Management to assist us at the amount of $10,000 to purchase computer equipment for the Business Resource Center. Let me reiterate, I'd just like to also reiterate the Mayor's point that the Office of Grants Management does deliver to the island of Rota. But there are delays when it comes to the request. I do not know what the cause is for the delay, if it's a staffing shortage or a processing issue. But I just wanted to reiterate that they do deliver, and they do assist the municipality of Rota, as the Mayor stated earlier. But there are delays, and which explains why I submitted that into my 2022 budget, just in case because of the delays and because the equipment is actually needed.
Thank you, Artie. Any questions from the members?
Yeah.
Okay, again, with that being said, under announcements, as I mentioned earlier, this is the last meeting with the agencies with regards to the special committees, oversight / informational hearing on OJMSC since its inception 5 years ago to date. And we appreciate the presence of the Mayor Catholic, Rhoda, all the RDH that presented some testimony this morning, and the rest of the staff that are here today. So, with that, on behalf of the Senate, I wish to thank everybody for being here. At this time, I'll entertain the floor leader for the proper motion for adjournment.
Thank you, Mr. President. I now offer a motion to adjourn this meeting subject to the call of the chair.
Thank you, floor. Motion for adjournment and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Motion carries. This special committee meeting stands adjourned. Thank you.